Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Top Hat Tuesday right here on the GNN Gaming channel. I am Magician Devin J. Stewart. Most of you know me as Retro from when I play retro video games right here on GNN Gaming. And before I jump into the fun and jump into the magic, I do want to say a hearty thank you to Geek News Now. And if you aren't familiar with Geek News Now, you should head on over to geeknewsnow.net. Check out all of the amazing articles and content happening over there. Also, be sure to check out our YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and we're all over the place. Geek News Now, also on Facebook, and you don't want to miss. We are now rocking and rolling with the new channel that is happening every other month, give or take. We are doing the GNN Dungeon Guild. Where we, a bunch of people here at GNN, and sometimes some guest players get together and we play Dungeons and Dragons. You can check out last week's Dungeon Guild over on our YouTube at Geek News Now, which is a special Halloween episode. We have another one coming up in December, and I will have more details about that as they come available. While I kind of wait for people to come into the chat, I'm going to turn on some music. I'm going to play with some playing cards, and we'll get going. Also, I am going to be teaching you how to juggle this evening, as well as some rope magic. So, in case you aren't prepared, this is going to be going live on YouTube. You will be able to see the instructions there. But for now, while we wait for people to kind of come into the chat, we're going to let's play with some cards. Hey, Cam, how you doing? Hey, Wolf Angel, welcome to the chat. We got a few people now coming into the room. I figure I'll jump right into the action. I figure I'd warm my hands up a little bit playing with some playing cards. So, Cam, good to see you, buddy. Wolf Angel, welcome to the chat. To everybody else who might be in there, feel free to jump into the chat. Say hello. So, tonight, as promised, I figure I'll start off. I'm going to teach you how to juggle. And I have a claim that I can teach anybody to juggle in 15 minutes. I can teach you the principle of juggling in 15 minutes. And I'm going to hold to that because I'm going to teach you the same way I was taught. Now, my disclaimer doesn't mean you're going to be good at it in 15 minutes. It doesn't mean that you're going to be an expert at it in 15 minutes. And I don't care how good you are, you will drop whatever you're juggling at some point. I have seen professionals in the circus for major companies like Cirque du Soleil, Ringling Brothers. I have seen them drop. And they always recover beautifully. Because at the end of the day, it's still a little bit of a technique thing. But it's a little bit hand-eye coordination. But this is kind of the perfect thing for gamers to learn because we're good at hand-eye coordination anyway. So, first, to do juggling well, getting started, you need 3 objects that are about the same weight. That is key when you're learning. These are actual juggling balls. They're essentially hacky sacks, heavy hacky sacks. They're made of vinyl, and they're stuffed to the brim very tightly like hacky sacks. Hacky sacks also work great. They're nice and light. Tennis balls are great. You can go with whatever fits your hand. But the important thing, apples, but they need to be 3 things that are the same weight. Because when you're juggling, it's constantly shifting which is in what hand. And if they're varying weights, you're going to throw something heavier, harder than something lighter. So just to pick something, I don't have something lighter. Let's see. You know what? I can do this. This is a little 3D printed rook that I have. This thing weighs almost nothing. It's just resin and plastic. But to juggle, I'll show you what juggling with 3 looks like. All right, so that's with 3. 3 objects of the same weight. Now, to juggle with something that's lighter, it fits in the hand different. It's a lighter weight, so if you notice, I'm actually throwing it a little higher to compensate, which kind of throws off what I'm doing with my other hands. So, 3 objects, same weight. Now, they also make wonderful products you can buy, such as Juggling Scarves, which are handkerchiefs that have a little bit of a weight on one end, but because they're silk handkerchiefs on the back, 1, they look really pretty when you juggle them, but 2, they fall slower versus this, which, falls fairly quickly. So, juggling. Here we go. To start learning to juggle, you can't do 3. You start with 1. To get the motion. It's a rhythm. Okay, so any drummers in the crowd, you'll get this. It's a rhythm. You toss and you catch. Toss, catch. You're throwing up, not out. And I can't tell you, I made the mistake, a lot of people make the mistake, of when they're learning to juggle, it gets away from them going forward, and they end up chasing it. I'll cover how to get past that later. So, juggling. So you do start with 1, and it's literally a toss, and a toss, and a toss. Now, the higher you toss it, the more time you have, because it takes that long to come back down. So, this falls much faster than that, which that's going almost all the way to my ceiling. Okay? More time to process what I'm doing. Once you're comfortable with the weight of something, kind of tossing it back and forth, you add 2. Now here is the motion with 2 is the same as the motion with 3. Doesn't look like it because it kind of plays an optical illusion, but it is the same. So, with 2, you're going to toss and switch. So toss, switch. Toss, switch. I'm throwing this one to this hand before I catch this one. So toss. And I'm trying to go, I'll throw this up higher. Throw. Okay? So again, the higher you throw it, the more time you have to think about what you need to do. Okay? So, that motion is the same once you add the 3rd. So you're tossing, switch. Okay? Toss, switch. And you alternate. Go back and forth. Toss, switch. Toss, switch. When you add the 3rd, it's toss, switch, toss, switch, toss, switch, toss, switch, and it's just the same motion, you just don't stop. Here, I have to stop. When I add the 3rd, I don't stop. Okay? So with 3, toss, switch, and switch, and switch. Switch, 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 switch. And when I throw them up higher, you can tell that there's only one in the air at a time. When I do it quickly, it looks like I've got 3, like they're all in the air at the same time. See, there I go dropping. When I do it quickly and close together and faster, it looks like I've got a bunch of them in the air at the same time, when really, if I slow it down, there's only one. If I can get, there we go. That's it. And then with practice, and then once you add 5, it's the same thing, but you do it faster. You're switching faster. And once you add 5, then at any given moment you have 2 or 3 in the air at one time, and so on. Hey, Harry! So in principle, that's how juggling works. Now, you have to get comfortable doing the toss and switch with 2. Because once you add the third, you're going to mess with your brain. You got to get comfortable doing that first. So seriously, if you just take like 5 or 10 minutes, and then you speed up how fast you start switching them. So toss, switch, and then you get comfortable with that motion. You start going faster to where you're tossing them back and forth quicker. Okay. Then once you add in the third, you're already kind of at that rhythm of the toss, and you're just switching. You're always switching before you catch the one that's in the air. That's it. And then you can throw in other things like that. You can get the one-handed going. And all that is exactly what it looks like. You throw out, and I actually mastered this before I mastered doing 3. You can do it a couple ways. You can do the alternating, like that, which is really fast and honestly I think harder. Or you can do the rotation, like that. And then if you get really good at your movement, you can make it look like you've got 3. But see, then again, go throwing that off. And I don't juggle professionally by any means. It's something that was taught to me by a magician at the Top Hat Tuesdays we used to do. But yeah, that's it. Now, here's how you solve the problem of chasing. Everybody makes this mistake. You'll make it. I made it. Every juggler I know makes it. Every juggler I know makes this mistake. People tend to throw outward instead of straight up. So it really is a straight up movement. And people tend to kind of put this frontward arc when they do it, and then they end up going across the room. How you kind of train your brain to get away from that is you can't really see. I'm going to turn my camera so you can see the wall here. Once you get this motion, you start getting there, even if it's just 2, to kind of train yourself not to chase. Literally get an arm's length away from a wall, okay? And when you do it, if you throw outward, it'll bounce off the wall and come back to you, okay? It'll bounce off and come back if it just starts going away from you. So you just plant yourself in one spot, and you work on throwing. And you do that until you figure out throwing upward instead of throwing out. And when you can do that and it doesn't hit the wall, so instead of it bouncing off the wall like that, once you get there, then you can just stand in front of a wall and juggle and have no issues. That's juggling in a nutshell. Like I said, you can do different things. Anything that you use that falls slower, napkins, handkerchiefs. I don't have any juggling handkerchiefs, not anymore. I did once upon a time, many, many years ago. But it could be anything. Paper towels. Ball them up. Something light. The lighter weight it is, the slower it will fall. Juggling pins and knives and all that's different because you have to account for a spin rotation on top of it. So you need to be able to get good at this before you start moving into other things that are, sharp or dangerous to learn to juggle. But that's juggling. So, any questions? I'll pause for a second, see if there's any questions. See, Wolf Angel says she can never juggle before. Harry the Sloth says too complicated for him. Um, what's funny too about juggling is once you get kind of comfortable with it, you learn to use your peripheral a lot because sometimes you'll inadvertently throw off and you won't even realize you'll reflexively grab it, or you'll try to. It's also a really killer arm workout. So, Wolf Angel says she's still getting moved into her new place. Oh, that reminds me. To kind of break for a moment, let everybody kind of process the juggling. Um, this, yes, juggling. Hi, Dark Angel. This Thursday, before I forget, this Thursday, um, Wolf Angel and I will be doing a mystery game on stream. And I don't mean a mystery themed game. I mean, we don't even know what we're going to play, and we will decide probably that day. But this Thursday, Wolf Angel and I, she'll be right here next to me, and we're going to play something together, duet stream. So be sure to check that out. That's Thursday, 7 p.m. Um, and Wolf Angel's also going to be streaming again this week. And she's also I know she's doing Sea of Thieves Friday night, and I will be on her crew Friday night, provided my schedule works out that I can. I should be able to. And I believe she's also doing some Dead by Daylight on Thursday. Or tomorrow, Wednesday. Sorry, Wednesday she's doing Dead by Daylight. Um, oh, I rather enjoy Wolf in person. She's a lot of fun. And we did last week. We kind of impromptu. She came over, and we did some Crash Bandicoot Wrath of Cortex, the second Crash Bandicoot game. We had a blast playing that and playing off each other, and it was fun. But yeah, so juggling, once again, I'll do a quick rerun for juggling. Again, if anybody wants to see these videos again, you can either check the VOD on Twitch, but that's only on Twitch for 2 weeks before they get rid of it. You can go to our YouTube at Geek News Now, and you can see the wolf. You can see she popped up the wolf. You can see the video on YouTube that walks you through how to do this, and you can pause it. And of course, you can also message me through the GNN Gaming Twitch, and I'd be happy to answer any questions or provide links to resources. These, I think I picked these up actually at a Renaissance fair now that I think about it. Bought off a jester. Imagine that. Renaissance fairs are actually a great place to get juggling supplies at a great price because there's always somebody selling them, and you can get scarves and you can get juggling balls and pins and knives and all kinds of cool stuff. Devil sticks and Diablos and all kinds of cool things. So, juggling, real quick. The motion with one is just literally just get used to tossing it from hand to hand. The motion with two is the same as when you have three. You're tossing and then you're switching. Toss, switch, toss, switch, toss, switch. And when you add three, you toss and then you switch and switch and switch and switch, 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 switch. And that's how you do it. And then you drop them on the floor, and there you go. That's juggling. All right, moving right along. I'll put those there. I thought I would teach a rather complicated card trick because why not? This is a card trick I am very fond of, personally. I want to give credit where credit is due before I do the trick. And tell you where I learned it from because I feel like that's doing justice. This is going to be the Ed Marlowe Ace Assembly. I learned it from Randy Wakeman off of a DVD series he put out called Lake Tahoe Bar Magic, where he taught you literally magic tricks that were good for if you're behind the bar or you're working a bar scene, things like that. So I'm rather fond of this trick. It is really cool. Trick with the aces. It doesn't require a trick deck, but there is some sleight of hand, and I'll do it, and then I'll break it all down, and then we'll go on to something else. So I'm going to show you the trick first, and we'll go from there. Okay. So in order to do any kind of For ace trick, I need the aces. So there's the ace of hearts. And let's see here. There's the ace of clubs. See if we can get another one to pop out here. So, sometimes they can be a bit stubborn. The aces get used a lot. They get tired of performing. There's the ace of spades. And the last one, see if we can get it to pop out here. See if I can maybe get it to... There we go. There's the ace of diamonds. All right. So in order to do this trick, I need the 4 aces, and I need 12 cards. So I'm going to count them out. 1, 2, 3, 6, 8, 9, 12. I'll make sure I got 12. Let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Great. So we've got our aces, and I am going to arrange them in a red, black order. So that on the top of the deck, we have the ace of hearts, the ace of clubs, the ace of diamonds, and the ace of spades. Now the ace of spades is the leader ace for these 3 aces. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this very cleanly. I'm going to take 3 cards, and I'm going to place them on the back of each ace, starting with the ace of spades. So that's 3 cards on the back of that ace. That's 3 cards on the back of this ace. That's 3 cards on the back of this ace. And that's 3 cards on the back of this ace. Now here's the goal. The goal is to make each ace in each pile jump over here to join the leader ace, the ace of spades. There's nothing up my hands, nothing up my sleeves, nothing in my hands. Here's how this works. It's going to happen with a press, like that, and that's it. Now over here, where we had 1 ace, we now have 1, 2, 3. Watch the ace, and it's gone. Over here in the ace of spades, we now have the ace of hearts. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to do it real slow. As you can see, nothing in my hands. Give press like that. In the middle pile where we had 1, 2, 3, watch the ace. The ace is gone. Over here in the ace pile, we have the ace of spades, the ace of hearts, and the ace of clubs. The last one is the hardest of them all. I'm not even going to touch the pack. I'm just going to cast my hand over it like that. That's how quickly it happens. And over here in the ace pile, we have the ace of diamonds, we have the ace of clubs, we have the ace of hearts, and we have the ace of spades. All 4 aces. Now I'm going to take the ace of spades and I'm going to put it back because I like watching that. I want to see it happen again. So once again, I'm going to cast shadow, maybe give a snap of the hands in this pile where we had 1, 2, 3. Watch the ace of spades. Ace of spades is gone. And over here in the ace pile, we have the ace of spades, the ace of hearts, the ace of clubs, and the ace of diamonds. That is the Ed Marlowe ace assembly. All right, so that's how that works. So I'm going to show you how to do this. This can be done with any deck of cards. There are no gimmick cards. There's no trick to it as far as like, a gimmick. I'm not going to teach you everything though, and I'll explain what I mean. Let me go back to here. I am not going to teach you the pop out card move. That is the Jeff McBride hip hop pop out card. If you want to learn that, you can look that up. How to make the card, how to move the cards and pop them out. It just takes too long to explain, and it's one of those things that's really hard to explain on video and not being there in person to kind of show you how to actually make the cards pop out of the deck. So we'll just assume that you have the 4 aces. Maybe you did one of the 4 ace tricks that I've taught the last couple weeks. Any way it works, you need the 4 aces, you need them in red, black order, and you need 12 cards. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then you don't need the rest of the deck. So here's what happens. There's a lot of subtleties that happen very quickly, so I'm just going to go through them step by step. And again, if you want to learn this in more detail and you want to follow along, if you're not following along at home, you can go back and, of course, watch the video here on Twitch or on YouTube. So what I love about this is that your point of view right now would be over my shoulder, and I was still able to do the trick without giving it away. So it is a trick you can perform completely surrounded, which is one of the benefits, especially if you're working the restaurant scene, you're working a bar scene. So here we go. I counted out 12 cards. I know I counted 12 cards, but I'm going to recount them. So count 12 cards, and I'll recount. And I count them in threes. 1, 2, 3. Square them up. 1, 2, 3. Square them up. 1, 2, 3. Square them up. 1. I leave this one further down. 2, 3. And when I change hands, I grab that and lift it up and square it, and I get a pinky break, and I hold it. Now, you don't notice that because at speed, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's it. You don't notice that I have a pinky break and there's 3 cards. I go over, I pick up these 4 aces, and I say I've got the 4 aces on top of the deck. I put them on top, and then I lift up everything. So I've got 4 aces plus 3 other cards. So I'm actually holding 7 cards right now. You can't tell that, though, because I just put them on, squared everything up, took it off. If you bow the cards a little bit between your fingers, it's easier. You have the ace of diamonds, you turn it over. The ace of clubs, you turn it over. Ace of hearts, turn it over. What I'm left with is the ace and 3 random cards, but it looks like 1. And then I put the ace on, square everything up. And I say, this is the leader ace for these 3 aces. Okay? These are not aces. It's an 8 of hearts, that's a 10 of hearts, and that's a 9 of diamonds. All right. But I tell you they're aces, and you believe they're aces. I then say I'm going to put 3 cards on the back of each ace, starting with the ace of spades. When I do that, I push over 1 card, and when I bring everything back, I grab 4 cards. These are actually my aces. I'm putting them on this pile. You don't know that. So I turn this over. Now I have 4 cards, because I picked up 1 extra off the pack. 4 cards. I show you the bottom card. I'm going to put 3 cards on here. Again, you have no reason to not believe me. That's what you've seen. Okay? I'm almost done with the sleight of hand. This is the last move you do. I say I'm going to take 3 cards. I show you 3 cards, and as I square them up, I leave 1 behind. So there's only 2. Here's what that looks like in slow motion. I show you 3. My thumb goes here as I square them up. And my pinky's there. So now there's only 2. I'm literally putting 1 more back on the pack. But it looks like 3 because I'm just doing it in the motion of squaring up. There. And then I put those down. Again, you're not counting them. You're not looking that closely. Nobody is. And then the rest of it's done. I legitimately put 3 cards there. I put 3 cards there. I pick up this pack. All the sleight of hand is done now. For the most part, really all the difficult sleight of hand is done now. I say I'm going to make each of these aces jump into the leader pile. Remember, I have all the aces already. You don't know that. I'm going to make each of these aces jump into the pile with the ace of spades. And this is just flourish, a press. There's no sleight of hand that happens there because it's already done. These are really just 4 different cards. This is a Randy Wakeman Flourish move where it looks like you're wiping the card away. I think it's a beautiful move. It's not complicated. I do this because it proves it's a card. And then all I'm doing is literally grabbing the card, turning it over, and then pulling my hand across. That's all. But it looks really pretty when you do it in one motion and pull my hand across. Oh, it's a wipe effect. It looks like you're just wiping the ace away. When you show this, you turn it over and you spread over. You show an ace, an indifferent card, and suddenly there's an ace of diamonds, and that's all you show. If you bend the cards, it makes it look like there's only a few there rather than more than there are. Do the same thing, middle pile. Boom, press. You can snap your fingers, wave a wand, whatever you want. 1, 2, and 3. Watch. I do my wipe again. You can also do this, which is really pretty, which all I'm doing, turn my hand over, and my thumb pushes the card out. But done quickly, it looks really good. It's a little subtle slight. It really is. It's a simple move, but it looks pretty. Now, I show you ace, I show you that, and I show you, and you have to be careful here, this takes some practice. I have 2 cards here, and I have to keep them together. I push that off and show you just the ace of clubs, not the card behind it. It takes some practice to get them held together. Again, bending the cards a little bit helps. Now, for the last one, there's only 3 cards here because we stole one for this pile. So I have to put one back. Well, how do I do that? I tell you, look, it's done. You don't believe me? Look. We have, and this is where you change. You pick up the whole thing and you take them off the back now. You show you have ace of hearts, the ace of clubs, the ace of diamonds, and now I have 2 cards held as one, and I show the ace of spades. That indifferent card is right on top, but I show you. So now you've seen the 3 aces and the ace of spades. Hey, it looks like the trick is done. But you know what? I want to see that again. I'm going to take one card, cough, cough, random card, and put it back into the pack. And now I'm back where I should be. Give a press, snap your fingers, whatever. You can go to do the move. 1, 2, 3. Watch the ace of spades. It's gone. And you're left with the ace of hearts, the ace of clubs, the ace of diamonds, and the ace so nice it came over twice, the ace of spades. That is the Ed Marlowe Ace Assembly. There are a lot of Ace Assembly effects out there. This is the one that requires the least amount of prep. It can be done on the spot. There's a lot of moves, but it's kind of like, I equate magic tricks to making a pizza, okay, or baking. If I start making a pizza, I don't end up with brownies, okay? Once you start down a road, this is what you know how to do, you end up remembering how to do it all. You know, you don't end up doing something else. Now, it does take practice. And I would encourage anybody who wants to learn this effect, either look up Randy Wakeman's Lake Tahoe Bar Magic, and you can learn it on there. It's also in a book he put out called Randy Wakeman Presents. Or watch this video back on VOD and do it step by step with me. So that is a fun ace assembly that you can do with any deck of cards, even borrowed. And it doesn't have to be aces. Again, you get 4 kings, 4 twos. Maybe it's an incomplete deck and you find 4 sevens and that's all you've got. Do it. It works. You need that and 12 cards, and that's all there is to it. All right. Moving right along. I want to do some rope magic for you guys. And so I'm going to show you the first rope trick I ever learned. And this trick, for those of you who may or may not be familiar with it, or if you want to look it up, it is also known as the Professor's Nightmare. Okay. Ooh, piece of candy. We got a Milky Way. Wolf Angel redeemed. Ooh, piece of candy. So we will eat. Ooh, piece of candy. You can hear me chomping into the microphone. I switched to using the headset microphone for this instead of my stationary. I don't know, Wolf Angel. I mean, we get rid of ooh piece of candy, or I'm gonna become diabetic, because some people like to redeem it all the time. Or after Halloween, we increase the point value. I think we should do that. Anyway, um, I moved to doing this over my stationary so that I could move around and you could hear me a little better. Okay, so this trick is called the Professor's Nightmare. I'm going to perform this as if you were my audience, and then I'll show you how to make it yourself and how to do it. So here we go. So this trick is called the Professor's Nightmare. It uses 3 pieces of rope that are all the same size. They're all the same size. Now I know what you're thinking. I know you're thinking that there's a small, a medium, and then one that's a little longer here. But I can prove it to you. I can prove it. They're all this. I can make all of the ends line up just by gathering them up in my hands like this. See? Now, they are all the same size. All of the ends line up. Let's just not pretend that's there. See, they're all the same size now. Great magic trick, right? Actually, in reality, see, I can take it and I can actually stretch it like this, where I end up with 3 pieces of rope, all the same size. And if you don't believe me, see, there's 1, and there's 2, and then there's number 3. But if I want to keep doing this trick, I need to get them back to the way that they were. So how I'm going to do that, how I'm going to solve that is, see, I can take these 3, and I'm just going to grab 1, and if I pull that 1, well, there's the small one. I'm going to drape that right there. And if I do this one, pull that, well, there's the medium one, and then we're left with the long one. And that is the Professor's Nightmare. So first, I'm going to show you how it's done, and then I'm going to show you how you make one yourself. Okay, so this uses, this rope is actually just a clothesline rope from Walmart. When you get it, it's going to be much stiffer than this. There is a nylon core going through it. You can buy it. Hey, Bricker. Dark Angel says it's witchcraft. All right, so this is just a cotton polymer rope. It's cheap. You can get about 25 feet of it for $2 or $3 at Walmart. Comes in a bundle. You can get 50 foot. You can get as much as you need. Cut one end of it off, and then thread and pull out the nylon core inside, and then the rope will be much more flexible and malleable like this. Otherwise, it ends up being really stiff and kind of bendy, like posable, because of the nylon core. Take that out, and you get flexi rope. All right. So here's how the trick works. I'm going to show you from my point of view. So there really is a small, a medium, and a long one. So from my point of view, let's see if I can get this good here. My thumb just holds that in place. There's a small one. And then the medium one is next. I get the ends about the same, let it hang down from my hand. And then the long one goes here. And in fact, I'm going to do this with a different set that I have here. My actual set I use for teaching that I made, where I color-coded the ends to help people. So the small one has red ends on both sides, just like that. The medium one has a red end and a blue end. Okay, and then the long one has 2 blue ends. And this is just a set I made, like I said, for teaching. That's electrical tape that I put around the ends. So this helps you follow what I'm doing. I start with a small one, and I say I'm going to make all of the ends match the same length. Pull it up, and I hold it. I just literally bend it over, and it's up. Now I grab the middle one, and I do the same thing. I put it next to that. I grab the long one, and I do the same thing. Okay? And I kind of hold it like this. All right? Now I can keep track because they're all in a line of what I need to do, but they're color-coded to help you see what you need to do. When I make a comment about them being all the same length, I come over, I grab the two ends, I skip one, and I grab the blue. Okay? Now, without the tape there, it looks like I just grabbed 3 and pulled. In reality, I've done this, and I've pulled. What happens is the little one is doubled over in my hand. My hand covers all of this. You can't see it. And when I pull, it folds the long one in half. So now I have them all about the same length. And that's what it looks like because you can't see that. Even when I pinch right here, and I like pinching here. Some people do a fist and they really cover that up, but that looks shady. I like just doing like a 2-finger pinch. All I'm covering is this dirty work right here. And that just looks really clean. Now, if you look, the middle one, excuse me, the middle one is free. So I pull out the middle one and say, hey, look, there's 1. And this is a little bit of sleight of hand. It's a false count. So I pull out 1, and then I put it between my index and middle finger like that. I grab these 2, and I grab that one, and I switch and say, hey, look, and then there's 2, and then there's 3. I'll show you what that looks like from the front. Get back to where you start here. So I pull out the middle, show you 1. I come over, I switch, and I say, and there's 2, and then I show you the middle one again. So all I've done is switch, and then so it's the false count. You count the middle one twice, basically. It looks like 3. Now, to be done, there's different ways you can do this. You can reverse it and do everything in reverse order. I like this, where you wrap it around your hand. I forget who showed this to me. This was legitimately one of the first rope tricks I learned 15 years ago. And I don't remember who I saw do this or if it was something I honestly don't remember at this point. It's been so long. But I've had people comment that they like this ending because now I go up to audience members and I tell them just to grab one and pull. And it doesn't matter what they grab. 1 will be the middle one, and I'll let them hang on to it because there's nothing to this is just rope. I let them hang on to it. I go to another audience member, they pull another one. Oh, they got the little one. And then I let them hang on to that, and then here is the long one. And that's how that's done. So once again, I'll go through the motions. You go with the small one first. You go with the middle one second. You go with the long one third. Okay. You fold it up and over. You do the middle one up and over. You do the long one up and over. And regardless of what you say, you're going to grab 2, skip 1, and grab number 3, right? Because that's it. So 1, 2, skip 3. And it creates this fold automatically in your hands. And when you stretch, oh, you really stretch it out. And again, the false count, you pull out the middle one and say, oh, look, there's number 1. You switch number 2 and number 3. And then to undo everything, you do this. You have an audience member grab 1. There's the middle. There's the little. And then there's the long. Now, here's how you make it. Get your rope and some sharp scissors. You can make this as big as you want. I know people who do a version of this where the rope is as tall as they are, 6 feet tall. You can do that if you want. I like an in the hands version like that. Let me see here, my scissors. So I'm going to cut off a frayed end just like that just to get it out of my way. So you're going to cut a piece, I guess at about 6 inches long, give or take, and cut. So there's the small piece. Now I'm going to cut the long piece. And I guess it to be, I don't know, foot and a half, ballpark it. Okay, so you cut the small piece and the long piece first. To get the middle piece, what you do is you fold your long piece in half, like this. You take the short piece, you go through here, and you fold it in half. And how long that is how long you make the middle piece. Okay, so I can show you here. So that's where I cut it. And that's it. Boom, boom. And I'm actually going to cut off these frayed ends of this one here. You can also use a lighter to burn it, melt it together, or electrical tape to do it too. That works. So now I'm done. Now I have my small, my medium, and then my long. So again, using this same set, and I'm going to hold it like this so you can see when I switch cameras. It's the same set. All right, the one I just cut and made. So there I have my small, and then I have my medium, and I have my long. And make the ends match up like this. There we go. Okay. I grab 2, skip 1, grab number 4, really, skip 3, grab 4, stretch. Hey, look, there we go. Now we have our set. I can do my false count, 1, 2, and number 3. Great, and then wrap it around my hands and have people pull out. Oh, there's the small one, there's the middle one, and there's the long one. That is the Professor's Nightmare. I love this trick. It's a quick trick to make. I love making magic. I think there's something really pure about magic tricks that you made yourself. So that's that. I don't really have anything else planned tonight other than I thought I would answer some questions from you guys, see if you guys had any questions, and thought I would maybe see if there were any stories you wanted me to share or anything about my career you had questions about or anything like that. So I'm going to go on a quick break. I'm going to get something to drink, and then I'll be back, and maybe I'll share a story or two or answer some questions you have. I'll be back. Okay, and I'm back. And I'm going to eat a piece of candy just for fun. Does anybody have any questions? What was the first successful big trick I did? This is Dark Angel's question. What was the first successful big trick I did? Well, the first big illusion I bought. I'm going to eat this real quick, because otherwise it was going to melt in my fingers. That's a toss-up. The first publicity stunt I did was a jail escape. This is pretty cool. Actually, I'll tell you about this. So let me get a piece of paper here, and because I'm going to illustrate to you what I was dealing with, the challenge of this, why it was so hard. Okay. So, Crawfordsville, Indiana, which is a small town. It's a college town. There is a college there, but it's not a big town. I mean, even including the college, it's maybe 20,000 people, and that's including the population of the college. Not a huge town by any means. Especially considering I grew up in Indianapolis, which was just over 1 million people. So, you know, quite a bit of difference. Small town, farming town. But Crawfordsville had the only remaining working rotary jail. Now here's what a rotary jail was. I'm going to change cameras so I can illustrate. A rotary jail was exactly what it sounds like. It was rotary. It turned, it was round. Okay, and the layout of this was this. You had a sheriff's it was a 2-story house on the front. Okay, so you come in the front doors, you had a stairway going up. Actually, it was really 3 stories if you included the attic. There was a landing, and then you had another couple stairs going up to the attic level. Then there was the lower level, which had this old, because it was built in the 1800s, mid 1800s. Like this. So the way they had it laid out, this used to be what was the sheriff's house, and on the second level there were rooms and things you could go into. This was all lower level. There was a hallway that was here, and it had these rooms off to the side, which were really cool. Very Victorian, with fancy pianos, things like that. There was a hallway back behind where the stairwell was. There were some offices back there. And then over here was what I guess you would consider like a living area. Pretty good size. Now it was, this whole place is a museum now. And then it's got artwork and stuff from local artists and things, and they use it for exhibits and stuff, which is really cool. And then coming out the back here was what is now the gift shop, which was there. But originally that was the kitchen. Okay, there's a door back here. There was a ramp that went down like this. Okay. Out the back. Over here was this big room. Okay. So this was like a kitchen area originally. And then when you go through here, this was actually like the sheriff's office. Okay. Um, and then this area back here was the jail. There's a door here. All of these have doors. Door, door, door. All this had doors and everything. So there's lots of doors in the place. You know, it's a house. But this was the sheriff's area. He had a little desk and a little office area here. And inside here was this 2-story cylinder. Okay? Now, this was the actual jail. Okay? It consisted of pie-shaped cells, jail cells. Okay? There was a centerpiece here, and you had these pie-shaped cells. Like this. There were 8 per level. They were made of solid steel and cast iron. The floor, the wall, everything. They would have a metal cot bolted to the wall. There was a little commode in the back. Those had all been sealed up because this was no longer a jail, but the cots were still bolted into the wall. And surrounding the outside of this was a complete circle of solid steel bars. There was one door, and it was in the bars here. What would happen was there was a crank inside the sheriff's area that when you turned it through a series of gears and underneath, turned this entire structure. Okay? So this door here, which could be locked, they would turn this to the empty cell, open the door, put the prisoner in, right? Turn this now away from the door and lock it. So that the prisoner, there was no door in front of them, all that was there were bars. completely isolating the prisoner in, and it also made sure there was only ever one prisoner at a time that could be in or out. So the entire jail could be managed by one sheriff and his deputy. And you could have 16 people in this, completely managed. And honestly, law enforcement officials today have seen this design and seen these working, and they love the concept. The problem is they're a fire hazard. If you had a fire, there is no way to rotate this fast enough to get each prisoner out. So that's why it's no longer a jail, was for fire hazard reasons. Now, they were all designed in the 1870s. There's 7 of them in the country. Only one of them has been restored to working condition, and it's in Crawfordsville, Indiana. Most of the others were harvested for steel during World War II and were destroyed or whatever. This is the only one that still works in the country. I had done a lot of shows for the town of Crawfordsville. It was kind of where I got my start. So it was a small town, but it was where I did a lot of shows. I did some fundraisers for the high school there. I did some different things, several birthday parties out that way. I kind of became a local celebrity, even though I didn't live there. And when I heard they had this jail, I was very new to my career. It was 2009. I was still pretty new, pretty green. I hadn't done anything big before. So I decided, I was like, Harry Houdini did jail escapes. Several other famous magicians have done jail escapes. Chris Angel was big at this time. He did a jail escape. I need to do a jail escape. Where was I going to find one? So I went to go on this tour, see everything in action, see it all work. And I was determined that I was going to pitch to them, I was going to sell them that I could escape from their jail. In the over 100 years this jail was in operation until it was finally shut down in the late 1970s. This one was shut down in the 1970s. No one ever escaped despite people trying, because you couldn't. You went into a cell, that cell was turned, and all you faced were bars. There was no lock to pick. You weren't going to overpower the guards because there were more of them than there were of you, and you were by yourself. So, the other thing too was you had the cell, the cylinder of cells that were inside of a room with 4-foot thick concrete walls. You could scream till you were blue in the face and had no voice, and no one outside of that room would ever hear you. Because of how thick the concrete was, your volume went straight up. Nowhere really for it to go outwards for anybody to hear you. So screaming didn't matter. Making noise didn't matter. So much so that if you were in a cell, the guards could barely hear you if you were talking, because of the steel and the concrete and how sound reverberated. Well, it was still in working function. After doing a tour, I went up to the person who was in charge of the jail for the Heritage Society, Historical Society. And I said, "Hi, I'm Devin Stewart. I'm a local magician. I've done some shows around town. I bet I can escape from your jail." And they said, "No, you can't." I said, "Yeah, I can. I already know how." I didn't know how. No clue. "Yeah, I already know how." They said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Give me a meeting with your board of directors. I have an idea." And they said, "Okay." So I got a phone call a few days later. Said, "Yeah, we'd love to meet with you and talk to you about this." And I went, "Great." So I was on a phone conference with them because I didn't live in town. I lived 45 minutes away. I was on a phone conference with a couple different people, and they said, "We have this we have a big fundraiser that we're doing in October." It was August. So we have a big fundraiser opportunity we're doing in October. We'd love for you to try to do your escape then. And they're like, "If you win, it's great publicity for you. If you fail, it's great publicity for us, and really we win either way." It's true. If I failed, it was just my reputation on the line. There was no physical issue that was going to be on the line. I said, "Okay." So we agreed. And then I had a minor heart attack. Joking. I had an extremely severe panic attack after that because I was anticipating having 6 months or more to figure out what I was going to be doing. I was thinking like next summer I would do it, summer 2010, we'd hype it up. No, they wanted to go in a month and a half. Okay. So, I had a very small team that I worked with because I was just starting out, and my team were friends that I trusted. And every night for weeks, we were at that jail. And they had rules I had to follow. I am a sucker for punishment. They had rules that I had to follow. They gave me this whole list. I had all these things I had to sign to let me do it. That I wasn't. This was a landmark historical building. This was actually a part of the Indiana Historical Society. This is a state landmark. I cannot damage anything. I had to sign all this stuff. I would be responsible for everything. So there was no sabotaging this in any way. I couldn't sabotage the gears so that it would let me turn. I couldn't do anything, which not that I would, but you don't realize how much that narrows the scope of your ideas until you're like, nope, that would damage the cell. Nope, that would be compromised. I couldn't remove a bolt. I couldn't change the sheets that were on the beds for decoration because they were all owned by the historical society. I had to leave everything exactly as it was so that if they opened it the next day for tours, it would be ready to go. Okay. So I had a team of 2 people that I trusted, and most magicians do. We usually have a group of people that we will bring in as confidants to bounce ideas off of, um, and we'll kind of give different perspectives, other creative people. Um, Sometimes other magicians, but usually we'll bring in other people. I love, well, semantics here, or a little, I guess, segue, but I love my team of creative people usually involves, I usually try to get somebody who's musically inclined. I try to get somebody that maybe has some acting ability. I try to get somebody that's an artist. Um, I'm looking for people who aren't magicians specifically because I'm a magician. I want other ideas. I want what inspires other people. I want to hear those ideas. Like my ideal date with somebody is to sit and just hear about what inspires you. I can sit and listen to what inspires people and listen to the music that inspires people and listen to the things that inspire people for hours. I am all about learning what drives people, and those are the kind of people that I want on my team are people who are passionate. So I had 2 very passionate people, creatively passionate people that were on my team, and we came up with an idea, and then we decided why not go for gold, and I did a straitjacket escape on top of it. It was what I was like, I'm going to be put. So the decision then was I'm going to be put in a straitjacket, and then I'm going to be put in the cell. So whatever I'm going to do, I either have to get out of the straitjacket first and then escape, or I have to do everything while my arms are in the straitjacket in case I can't get out. So we came up with some ideas, and I'll tell you truthfully, the very first thing I had them do was I had them put me inside of the jail cell and lock me in. Just me, no one else. There's no cell phone signal because you've got 4 feet of concrete walls. You're not getting a phone signal out. Um, and I had them put me in the cell, rotate it to the furthest opposite section, turn out the lights, and leave me there. And I said, leave me there for 20 minutes. Because I had no idea how long I'd actually be in the cell, but I needed to know that I could actually be in the cell and not freak out. Basically, I didn't want to have a freak out the day of. It was cold. I will never forget how I felt. It was cold. Every step you took echoed because you had a steel floor that was hollow beneath you because all of the gears and the mechanisms were in the basement underneath this structure. So you're on a solid steel plate that was about 2 inches thick. But you could still feel, when you stepped, you could hear the hollowness. And then it echoed off the walls. It echoed off the concrete. It got to the point where I was in there after about 5 minutes. I could, not making a sound, I could hear my heartbeat. Um, it was unnerving, to say the least. But it kind of prepared me for what it would be like the day of. And when they took me out, like I was expecting to be working more after that. I said I was done for the night. After that, I was like, I need time to just think. And we broke plans for that night. Um, a couple weeks before the event, about a month before the event, a couple weeks have now have gone by. I get a phone call from the local newspaper. Hey, we want to feature you on the front page of the paper. Or they didn't even tell me it was the front page. They said, hey, we want to do an article on you. Great. I said, well, I'm going to be in town working on some stuff, this day. And I went to the news station and I met with the reporter and I sat in their office and we talked and they took a picture of me and I have that tucked away in a box somewhere. I still have the article. And then I get a phone call from one of the people who was helping me with all of this, one of the people on my team. And they said, you're on the front page of the paper. I went, oh, great. And not just like a section, front page of the paper. I was above and below the fold of the newspaper. And then we decided, I was like, I should get a police officer there to verify everything. Yeah, that'd be cool. To give some credibility to everything. To tell everybody, yes, the straitjacket's real. Check out the cell, you know? So I called up the Crawfordsville Police Department. I said, hey, this is who I am. Oh, yeah, we saw you in the paper. Great. So here's what I need. Do you have an officer, an off-duty officer? He doesn't have to, nothing fancy, but just somebody that's with the department that could be there that night. He says, I'm sure I've got one of the guys that would love to do this. I said, great. I just need one officer. More can show up. That's great, but I just need one. Okay, great. Yeah. I had no idea who it was going to be. I didn't know if anybody would actually show up because I never got a call back or confirmation. But whatever. All right. The night before, I don't know if anybody in the crowd is part of a praying, you pray. I do. So I say that because the night before the event, everything built up to it. I was terrified. I was nervous. I walked around town and people recognized me from my picture in the paper. And I just said a prayer. I said, if this isn't what I'm meant to be doing, let me fail. Let me fail. Let this just fall flat on its face to end my career now. Let me just walk out the embarrassment. If this is, let my whatever idea I had fail. So, day comes. 150 people have gathered behind this building. I'll go back to the map here I drew. So there's this ramp back here. The whole side of this building and all back here is all grass, backyard. When this was a jail, instead of this being a ramp, this led out to the gallows. And there were gallows here. For those of you who may not know, gallows are what are used to hang people. Gallows. This whole area is filled with people. Packed with people to see me do this. So, in 1892, a man by the name of John W.C. Coffey was accused and tried for the murder of a woman and her husband. A lot of the details of the case don't add up, but he was held in this jail. The day they went to hang him at those gallows, at this property, where that ramp is, the ramp I was standing on talking to everybody, the gallows stood there 120 years before. And they went to hang him. And before they hanged him, the reverend of the town prayed that if this man be innocent, let it be known. They went to hang him, and the rope broke. They went to hang him. They got some new rope. They went to hang him a second time. Trapdoor wouldn't open. They fixed the trapdoor. The third time, just before they pulled the lever to hang him, his last words were, "Wait, I have more to say." His neck didn't break. He strangled to death. They sold They didn't even sell tickets. They put tickets in the newspaper back then that people could cut out and redeem to come watch and be hanged live, because we did that, back then. So now I am standing on this ramp addressing 150 people on the same day he was executed. We planned that. So, in the newspaper ran some sensational articles like, is this going to be the day? Is John W.C. Coffey's ghost going to help him escape? And, it's some absolute sensational publicity with this. Day comes, and Officer Brett Hoagland, I will never forget his name. Wonderful officer, showed full gear, full tactical gear, bulletproof vest, his belt on, everything. He is ready and rocking, to do his job. And he shows up, and he was my officer on site that the department sent. I did a brief interview with the newspaper that was there and talked to them, and then I talked to the crowd. I told the newspaper, I said, Harry Houdini escaped. It took him 1 hour to escape the jail. Tonight, I'm going to beat his record. That's what I told the newspaper. I would beat Harry Houdini's 1 hour record of escaping a jail. So everybody who showed up that night was anticipating they could be there for an hour. And I do a video of all of this. I haven't ever published it. It's a very old video. It's a little embarrassing for me to look at because I was very young. But anyway. When they ran the article the second time, they did do a second article on me like the week before in the paper, and I told them then, I said, I think I can do it in 30 minutes. So now the second newspaper has said that he thinks now he can do it in 30 minutes. Day of the event came, and I told everybody standing there, said, I can escape in 15 minutes. Oh, people were sensationalized by that. We had people chosen at random from the crowd. We had 10 people, 5 children, 5 adults chosen completely at random. I had this thing I threw into the crowd, and we just picked whoever could catch it. And then there was the officer. The officer was the one who put me in the straitjacket. Well, no, he oversaw me going in the straitjacket, but he checked it right there in front of everybody. He said, yes, this is a real straitjacket. We got 2 really big biker-looking guys to strap me into this thing while he watched. So I'm very tightly in this straitjacket. We go inside. The officer goes with, everybody goes with. We go in. We go to the cell. He searches the cell in front of everybody to make sure I didn't hide anything in there. He's lifted up the mattress. He's feeling everything. He pats me down, checks my waistband to make sure I haven't hidden keys or anything. It wouldn't matter because there's nothing to unlock, right? So he clears me. Everybody sees me go into the cell. They shut the iron doors, padlock. They turn the crank. Everybody sees me turn away. The crank had a drop pin in the gear that would keep it from turning. Pin was placed in. Everybody left. That room, padlocked. They left the next room, padlocked. There were a total of 4 padlocks between me and the exit, not including the pin in the gears that turned the cell. And the fact I'm in the cell now with no door in the straitjacket. And then everybody left. All the doors were locked behind. The officer was there. The Historical Society was there. Everybody was there to verify. 10 witnesses. And those 10 witnesses, I found out later, ended up coming out, and the newspapers were interviewing them to verify, hey, what did you see in there? And the reason I picked 10 people at random is because there wasn't enough room for everybody to funnel through. It was too small of a building. Like I said, this was a sheriff's house. And it was a small space, so I couldn't have everybody in. So we chose 10 at random. And then people waited. They waited. 7.5 minutes later, I come out the back door that I went in, still wearing the straitjacket. I had managed to do the entire escape and get out of everything with my arms locked like this. And then I got out of the straitjacket in front of everyone. There are 4 people today who know how that is done, how I did the whole thing. Big sensational story. Devin Stewart escaped. So I am officially the only magician in the world and the only person in the world to escape from a rotary jail. And you won't find a single article about it now. It's too old. But I can say it, and I have video proof. And I have the newspaper, the actual newspapers still. But I'm the only magician in the world to ever do it. The crazy thing, they came to me a year later, and they said, "We want you to do it again." And I went, "Excuse me? You want me to do it again?" They said, "Yeah." Okay. They wanted me to do it in 2010, a year later. I said, "Okay." They said, "And we want you to do it different this time." I'm the only person in the world to ever do this, and they're telling me they want me to do it different. I said, "Okay." I have no idea, but they gave me 8 months this time to figure it out. So we did it again in 2010, and this time we decided one of the big complaints, and I listened to the fans who responded back to me on my website, responded back to me in person, responded back to the newspaper. The biggest complaint was that everybody was outside waiting, and they couldn't see what was going on in there. I said, "That's fair. Okay. So now we need to let them see what's going on." And I had to escape differently. So in 2010, what we did was we set up a camera in the cell that was going to a projector outside so people could watch me in real time. Figure it out. And we actually published a DVD about this one too with the video and everything. So what we did was we had a projector and everything outside. We didn't have as many people show up because the second time you do a stunt like this in a small town, it was sensational the first time. The second time it was, but we still had about 70 people show up to it, which was cool. Yeah, I was good with that. I was happy anybody showed up. So we sold tickets. And the tickets were designed to have a tear off, so the customer would keep their half, and we would have the other one, and they would have matching serial numbers. Okay, because that's how we were going to pick somebody from the audience. Was we were going to pick out a ticket stub, and they would match the numbers of somebody in the crowd. We felt that was fair. That was the fairest way to do it, because then everybody had a chance to be a part of it, completely random. It only condition was it had to be an adult of it, so we chose an adult ticket. And what we did differently was instead of a straitjacket, we put a folding metal chair in the jail cell and 100 feet of quarter-inch nylon rope. We chose somebody at random, pulling a ticket. We went inside, and you could see it on camera. You could see us going inside. You could see him tying me up on camera. He tied me with all 100 feet of it to the chair, just however he wanted. So I'm sitting in this metal chair facing the camera inside the cell. We put it on a little tripod on top of where they had sealed over the commode. And so it's in the corner facing out. So you can see the bars behind me. You can see there's no door. You can see I can't go out anywhere. You can see the bed to my left. And I'm in this metal folding chair, and I'm tied to it. So you see me get out and dislocate my shoulder and do all kinds of things to get out of the rope. So he did that. They turned the cell. He left, turned the cell, locked it, and then a timer started. So on camera, you're seeing me try to get out. So I get out of the rope. Well, then what? So you can clear. I kind of messed with the bars. I showed that there's no moving it. I took the blanket off of the bed. I sat in the chair. I held it up in front of me. It dropped. I was gone, and I was standing in the middle of the audience outside of the cell. Like I said, they watched everything live on camera, and they watched it happen, and then I was suddenly standing in the middle of the audience. It was beautiful. It was the most impossible successful teleportation effect I've ever done in my life. And it's what got me obsessed with the idea of doing where I kind of developed my specialty and obsession for doing teleportations, transportations, and things like that was my research to make that happen. Um, so that what they saw was live, and then now I'm in the middle of the audience. And then when everybody went back inside to prove the jail cell was still turned where they left it, the chair was there, covered in the blanket, and all of the rope was on the floor. And it wasn't even intentional. The guy who we picked from the crowd to come up, this just sold everything so much more. The guy we picked from the crowd to come up, he had been drinking a Yoo-Hoo chocolate, Yoo-Hoo drink. For those of you who know what Yoo-Hoo is, he was drinking that. He took it in there with him. He set it down on the bed and forgot it when he left because he had to use his hands to tie me up and everything, and then he just left. He left his drink in there. So when everybody went back inside, there was his Yoo-Hoo sitting on the bed and everything, and so it was done. You could see the camera and everything, and it was just left up to nobody knew how I did it. And then there was a in that year from 2009 to 2010, they had built a little activity center on the back part of the property that was used for like teaching classes and art classes and stuff. Everybody went in there, and then I did a 45-minute magic show for everyone after doing the jail escape. To top it all off. So everybody who paid for that, they also got to see a full magic show afterwards. And then I swore off doing jail escapes ever again because, again, I'm the only person to ever do it. I'm the only person to ever do it twice for a Rotary jail. I'm the only magician. I'm the only human to ever do a jail escape from a Rotary jail. And yeah. So it was the gutsiest thing I think I've ever tried to pull off. More so even than trying to make the plane appear in front of a live crowd. I still think the jail cell was the gutsiest thing I ever did. But it was fun. It was a good time. Good to know I'm human. Yes, I am. Last I checked, I am human. Prick me, do I not plead? But yeah, that's it. So that was a 45-minute explanation of the most successful big trick I ever did. Someday I will release the videos of the recordings of both of those events to the public. I still have them. They're a little rough. We didn't have HD cameras that you could just buy back then, so they're in like 480 and like early 720 resolution, which was HD in 2009. But it was fun. It was challenging. And to give you an idea, I talked about how hard it was to get a cell phone signal out of there. We had to use radio signal to pull everything off because there was no cell phone service. We had to use radio signal. So yeah, that's that. And I need a drink of water. Well, I tell you what, guys. That I think that ends what I'm gonna do tonight. I think that ends my stream. Talking so much, I'm losing my voice. So be sure to follow GNN Gaming. Tomorrow, you're going to see Wolf Angel go live with some Dead by Daylight. And on Thursday, both she and I will be back for a duet stream. We don't know what we're playing. It's Mystery Game Night. It was, for me, it was a weird dream, Dark Angel. Thursday night is Mystery Game Night. We will probably decide day of what we're gonna play. It could be on any console, from Xbox to PlayStation to PC to original Nintendo. Who knows? We're gonna go through my library, my obscene library of games, and we're gonna pick something. And then Friday, she will be back Friday night with Sea of Thieves. I hope I should be able to join her crew that night as well. We have a couple new streamers to the GNN Gaming channel, so we'll look for them in the schedule. I'm starting to lose my voice. It's starting to break. Look for them in the schedule and keep an eye out for them. Very excited to be bringing some more people on board. I want to thank you all for being fans and for hanging out with me tonight and talking magic with me. I love it. But I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Be safe out there. Hope you all had a wonderful and safe Halloween. And bless you all and take care. We'll see you guys around. Have a good night.